Am I the a-hole for telling my ex's friends the real reason we broke up? I'm 26 male, recently broke up with my girlfriend Lisa, 25 female, after being together for 3 years. The reason? I caught her cheating on me. A couple of weeks ago, I came home early from a work trip to surprise her, only to find another guy's jacket on the couch. When I asked her about it, she admitted she'd been seeing him for months. Obviously, I ended things immediately. She apologized but tried to downplay it, saying it didn't mean anything, and even asked if we could stay friends. I told her there was no chance. After the breakup, Lisa told all our mutual friends that we drifted apart and made it seem like the breakup was mutual. She even hinted that I was the one who grew distant. I didn't say anything at first because I didn't want to stir up drama. But last weekend at the mutual friends party, one of her friends came up to me and asked why I broke Lisa's heart. That was my breaking point. I calmly told her friend the truth, that Lisa cheated on me and that's why we broke up. Now Lisa's furious with me, saying I'm ruining her reputation and that I had no right to tell people about her personal life. Some of our mutual friends agree with her and say I should have kept the details private. Others think she brought this on herself by lying. Am I the a-hole for telling the truth when asked? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. She made it an issue when she decided to go begging for sympathy and telling her friends that you broke her heart. You were willing to go with drifted apart, but she crossed the line, and you were fine telling the truth. Exactly this. She should have shut up instead of playing up the breakup and making a sob story. Yes, shut up should be the final answer for most of the threads here. Not the a-hole. If she was worried about her reputation, then she shouldn't have been a cheater. She also had no right to tell people lies about what happened, so it's not your fault you had to set them straight. It's on her that you had to tell people about her personal life. And I will never understand why people think it didn't mean anything will help the situation. To me, that's even worse. Like, oh, you didn't even have a personal connection with this person, but chose to cheat anyway? You literally threw our relationship away for someone who didn't mean anything? Don't be rude. Whores have a legitimate profession, even though people get skeevy about it. She's just a cheater. Fair point, lol. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not telling my ex-wife about our son's talent show and then telling her it's not my fault she's screwing up her relationship with our kids? My ex-wife, 40 female, and I, 40 male, have 2 children together, Amy, 12 female, and Noah, 11 male. We used to be civil, even though our breakup and divorce could be described as messy. It was for the best. We got along better than a lot of divorced parents have known. We always shared custody of our children, and my ex-wife had another child soon after our marriage ended. My ex-wife remarried about 3 years after our divorce, and she and her husband have 3 children together. So, my ex has 6 children, and I understand this can make it hard to give all the kids individual time. But our kids have increasingly felt like they matter less than their half-siblings. They've brought up the fact that their half-siblings get one-on-one time with her, not just when they're with me. Their half-siblings can ask for time with just their mom or just their dad. However, when Amy and Noah ask for time with just their mom, they're told she doesn't have time or that they would want to spend time with everyone because they're part of a big family and aren't always there. There's also been tension when our kids introduce me and my ex as their parents and refer to my ex's husband as their stepdad. They also call their half-siblings just that, half-siblings. My ex doesn't like it. She said her 3rd child doesn't say it, but that child doesn't have a relationship with her biological dad. Our kids pointed out that this makes it different for her. My ex told them there should be no halves or steps because they're all family. She also uses the fact that Amy and Noah live with me 50% of the time as a reason for them not to use those terms and not to expect time alone with her. However, she and her other kids openly talk about outings where she takes one child to the arcade or trampoline park when Amy and Noah aren't there. For example, Amy had a Mother's Day event at her music class and asked her mom to come. Her mom brought the other girls along to make it a girls' day. Another time, Amy wanted her mom to drive her to a show she was performing in, but her mom said it should be a family outing. Amy then asked if I could take the day off work to take her. It was my parenting time, but since I was working and Amy wanted her mom, I said it was fine if she asked her. Amy's mom wasn't happy about it, but Amy said she didn't want it to be a family thing. Similarly, Noah invited his mom to take part in his cooking classes, but she always wants to bring her husband or some of the other kids. He also wanted to celebrate with her over a milkshake after getting a good grade on a test, despite his school messing up by not providing his dyslexia aid. She insisted it couldn't be one-on-one. There are many examples like this. We're now at the point where the kids would love to live with me more, but they have to be at least 16 for a judge to consider their wishes. Last week, Noah had a talent show during my parenting time. Both of us are notified of school events, but Noah chose not to tell his mom or invite her. She found out about it after he won, and it was posted on social media. She called to complain and upset Noah so much that I had to step in. She told me I should have informed her, and I said I didn't have to. We both receive notifications, and it's on each of us to stay updated. She accused me of coming between her and the kids, and I told her it wasn't my fault she was damaging her relationship with them by denying them one-on-one time. She said it wasn't fair, and that it's easier for me because I only have Amy and Noah. I pointed out that she makes time for her other kids, even finding babysitters or having her husband watch the kids, but she can't be bothered to do the same for Amy and Noah. She called me an ass and accused me of interfering in her relationship with them. Am I the a-hole? No, not the a-hole. She has made efforts herself to destroy her relationship with her kids without your help. She's doing this to herself and then blaming you? Not acceptable. You've done nothing wrong. Her inability to be available to her children and give them the attention and care they need is 100% her own doing. Hopefully this is a wake-up call for her, but it won't be. When the kids move in with you full-time, I'm sure he'll tell everyone it's your fault. She wants to be a victim and take no responsibility for her actions. Don't let her. Exactly. The fact that she's upset with him instead of reflecting on why her kids are pulling away speaks volumes. Opie is not sabotaging their relationship, she is. If she genuinely wants to repair things, she needs to prioritize Amy and Noah instead of making excuses or blaming Opie. Not the a-hole. Props to you for being there for your children, mate. One word of advice, nothing will come out of arguing with her. You should have just told her that you both get notified by the school and that's how you knew. Then ask if she isn't following notifications about the kids, as they could be extremely important. You two broke up. It's not your job to remind her of events. Luckily for you, the kids are on your side anyway. It's not your duty to make sure she's in the loop. If she's not following up, that's on her. You're already doing more than enough for your kids. Next story. Am I the a-hole for becoming a stay-at-home parent when I did not support my ex being stay-at-home? I, 33 male, share a 3-year-old son with my ex, 29 female. We broke up before our son was born. One of the reasons we broke up was her insistence on being a stay-at-home parent until our child reached school age, at least. Obviously, she needed to stay home for the months after the birth to recover. But once she had recovered, I did not support her continuing not to work. I did not want a relationship where she was financially dependent on me. We also disagreed on concepts like gender roles within the family. We had both been rather progressive, but after getting pregnant, she started expounding a lot more traditional views. In any case, our son was born and we co-parent. We have 50-50 custody, but I make more than my ex, so I pay health insurance, child care, and child support. Tragically, a year after my son was born, my mother was killed in an accident involving a semi-truck. My twin brother, who is a family law/divorce attorney, had one of his law school classmates look into the accident. It turned out that the semi-driver was over the federally allowed hours to drive. As you can imagine, this really affected my perspective on things. We ended up receiving a substantial settlement. I decided to take a step back from my career. I'm an accountant, and I signed a freelance contract with my firm that gives me the flexibility to spend as much time with my son as I want. I still pay for insurance, childcare, and child support. Note, The settlement has no impact on my child support. Trust me, I have had the best family law firm in the state look into it. On my time, I usually keep my son with me, and we spend a day together going to the park, museums, library, etc. My ex has expressed her frustrations at my hypocrisy. She says I am now a stay-at-home parent, but I wouldn't let her be one. I told her the situations are different because I am not financially dependent on anyone. That was my chief concern with her being a stay-at-home parent. This is causing issues in our co-parenting relationship. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You are not a stay-at-home parent. You are employed on a flexible contract that allows you to be fully present with your son during your custody time. What's the issue here? Also, she is welcome to establish the same setup. For example, she could flex her workload to the times she doesn't have physical custody. That is not your issue to solve. Not the a-hole. I can definitely understand her frustration and jealousy. You're living the life she wanted, being able to stay home though you're still working. But that doesn't make you an a-hole. You're doing what's best for you and your child. She shouldn't be taking her frustration out on you. While I get it, it's not fair to you, and it's a completely different situation. You didn't want another dependent, which is understandable. She's definitely the a-hole here, not the a-hole. Disagree. OP is still working and has to deal with the premature loss of his mother in tragic circumstances. His ex just wanted to not work. She's twisting the narrative to fit her sour grapes. There's no way you don't see why your ex is upset. You're living the parenting dream she wanted. Yeah, he is not the a-hole, but the way he talks about stay-at-home parents is kind of dismissive, especially as she just wanted to stay at home until the kid was in school and they seemingly had the money. Low-key getting the vibe he implied she was a mooch or something, hence her anger. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not selling my car even though my fiancé refuses to sit in the front seat because my ex sat there? Hi everyone. I'm 27 male engaged to my fiancé 26 female. And while we're preparing for our wedding, something recently came up that's left me confused and conflicted. I want to know if I'm in the wrong here or if her reaction is unreasonable. Here's the issue. My fiancé refuses to sit in the front seat of my car because my ex used to sit there. She says it makes her uncomfortable and feels like she's taking what someone else's. Instead, she insists on sitting in the back seat whenever we go somewhere, which honestly feels strange to me, like I'm her chauffeur. I offered to sell the car if it truly bothers her, but she told me not to because it would feel like she's forcing me to do something. However, she still won't sit in the front seat and avoids interacting with anything related to my past relationships. This is part of a bigger pattern. She's mentioned multiple times that she doesn't want to do things I've done with my ex, like cuddling on a couch during a movie or visiting places I've been to before. I've tried to be understanding of her feelings, but I'm starting to feel like I'm being held responsible for my past, which I can't change. It's also confusing because she keeps in touch with her own ex, occasionally texting or calling him, which I have no issue with as I trust her. Whenever these situations come up, she tends to withdraw emotionally, avoiding physical affection, not saying goodnight, or being distant. While I love her and want to work through this, I'm starting to feel like I'm walking on eggshells around her emotions, especially when they tied to things I can't control, like my past. She sounds emotionally immature. Honestly, I would hold off on marrying her until she has some serious therapy sessions under her belt, not the a-hole. This is what I came to say as well. She sounds like she needs a whole lot of therapy to sort out her relational problems, insecurities, double standards, and obsession with your ex. Good luck. Not the a-hole. This is controlling behavior. Stop playing her games. If she won't sit next to you in the front of the car, then don't drive her anymore. Ultimately, this relationship isn't going to work out. It would be messier and more expensive to get a divorce than to choose not to marry this woman in the first place. Even if you don't want to end a relationship, you should put wedding plans on hold and get couples counseling. Thank you so much for your advice. I'm seriously considering calling off the wedding. When I spoke to her about it earlier today in another car, not the one my ex sat in, she dismissed my concerns, removed her seatbelt, and started screaming at me during the argument, saying it's normal. She doesn't contribute to practical matters like wedding or honeymoon planning, and instead compares me to her dad, expecting me to take care of everything. She minimizes her toxic behaviors, blames PMS, and rarely apologizes. So yeah, listing all these out has really helped. Surely you want to marry a best friend and partner, not an enemy. You're set up for disaster and your life will probably become a nightmare. Leave while you can. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my stepfather walk me down the aisle? Backstory. My father died when I was 12 and my older brother was 17. He was practically a boy when my mother went into a depression that affected her for years. My brother stepped in and took care of us. He helped out around the house and helped me with school while my mother was getting treatment. He basically became my father figure. I didn't want him to grow up so fast, but I was just a little girl who had just been orphaned. There wasn't much I could do. Time skip. Now I'm 26 and my brother is 31. My mother got better years later and met a guy named Adam who seems really nice, but he can't have children biologically. That's why his wife separated from him years ago. The problem is, I'm getting married in 2 months, and my stepfather insists on walking me down the aisle because it would be the only chance he has to do something like that. However, I really want my brother to walk me down the aisle because no one deserves this more than him. Now half of my family is on my side, and the other half says I should go with my stepfather because my brother would look aesthetically weird next to me since we're close in age. What do? Tell everyone to go F themselves? Lose the chance to have my brother walk me down the aisle? I don't know how to talk to my mother because she isn't very mentally stable anymore. Possible relevant info. Mom 55, stepdad 55, and they've been together since I was 20. The weirdness of telling an adult you didn't even know as a kid that you want them to be a centerpiece of your wedding day is, weird. Really weird. Like you've only known this dude for a few years. That would be aesthetically weird. This is just some weird boundary stomping. I have taken your thoughts and feelings into consideration. I will be continuing with having my brother, who acted as a father to me in my formative years, walk me down the aisle. I look forward to enjoying the day and consider this conversation closed. And then shut it down. Anytime it's brought up, hand up, walk away, or don't respond to the text. Because this is just weird behavior. Not the a-hole. Honestly, it's just uncomfortable. I don't hate him or anything, but he can't idolize me as the daughter he couldn't have. That will just make things worse for everybody. I'm not trying to create drama. I'm sad. I just want everyone celebrating. I've put a lot of effort into my wedding, partly because I want to start fresh and build a family after everything that happened. But nobody besides my fiancé seems to understand that.